that these beings came down from another planet. I can't ever say that. Like,
so. They had kind of seen this weird little anomaly when they were looking, into the nether reaches of what our technology can look at in outer space, and coming from all sorts of different outlets, even NASA being one of them. In terms of kind of its connection to Nibiru, and sometimes that's also called Planet X.
When Jerome's mentioning NASA, it was in 2015 that Caltech scientists said they made a claim in a report saying that they think that they have identified another planet in our galaxy. And so this planet, and they haven't seen it yet, but they can estimate by the different other like rock formations and stuff that circle around it and have an orbit, that more than likely this is a planetary force. And so and through further recent years, there's been more and more facts that kind of support that, and even a new kind of research and findings as they feel that the planet's coming closer in 2018, saying that it actually kind of is getting a little bit more similar to what the Sumerian texts had said, which they said that it had an orbit that went around our sun every 3,600 years. And that when that orbit went around close to Earth, it
created cataclysmic events.
Well, yeah, and that was
one of the side effects.
Yeah, so we'll get into that. But they were able to come over to Earth to initially mine for gold, and we're going to get to that in a minute. And then, but this every 3,600 years is this orbit, okay? And in the Sumerian text, they say that its mass is roughly 4 times the size of Earth. Well, the interesting thing, when these Caltech scientists came up with this planet in 2015, they had initially first thought that it was roughly 10 times the size of Earth and had an orbit that was 10,000 years. Well, in 2018, after more calculations and understanding, they came down significantly and said, no, the rotation is somewhat around 5,000 years, and it's about 5 times the size of Earth. So my theory is that when it comes a little closer, that number is going to drop to 3,600, and it's going to be 4 times the size of Earth. So anyways, share a little bit about, the beginning.
In the beginning, no. Like, it was my first remembrance of kind of like learning about this idea, this concept, was that they had kind of seen this weird little anomaly when they were looking, into the nether reaches of what our technology can look at in outer space. And they had noticed in this one particular direction that there were some stars that they knew were there. They've been monitoring them. And then they just kind of blacked out. And they were there. They were just kind of like gone for a time. And then they'd come back. They weren't really sure why that was in the first iteration. And then it happened again. And they realized that it looked like there might have been something like an object that was passing in front of it because of the timing in which these stars, which they knew to have been there, that they had been blacked out. Mm-hmm. And so what they started recognizing and started kind of, tracking was if it was going to be some sort of body. They didn't know if it was a planetary body or what if it was some sort of starship or something. They didn't know. And so they started trying to calculate the amount of time that these stars were blacked out and the magnitude of these stars that they knew of, and how long they would have to, from the size of the star, how long or how large this object would have to be for passing in front of that type of magnitude, and being able to kind of like block out that light. And they started realizing further and further along that this must have been some sort of planetary body, because when they would black out, it was on what would be considered to be an orbital rotation. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the next things that kind of had me reading even further than that was that it seems like that there is a theory, at least, and I don't know this, I'm not an astronomer myself, but there is a theory that it is in fact a part of a binary system. Are you familiar with like binary or trinary or I guess quaternary star system? There's systems where if you have a binary star, okay, they basically operate off of each other's gravity.
Okay.
So if you have 2 stars, this will be star 1, star 2. They will come together, and the closer they come together, the quicker they actually go. And then when they get really close, they basically slingshot around each other and fling each other further apart. And then they have to slowly over time come back together again and like this, and then kind of swing back out. So that was the idea, and that they were saying that it's possible that this could actually be a binary, like a binary star that is possibly binary to our sun. And that was in the I guess in the closer proximity that particular star would have to our planet, or any other planet, really, that you would actually start to see a higher level of erratic environmental change happening.
Interesting.
And I thought that was really, really amazing, and that our science is kind of just now beginning to be aware of it, as of 2015.